You're making one right decision today. You're listening to Handcuffs and Sage.
Three badass moms bringing you all the true crime and paranormal your heart desires.
I'm Red.
I'm Timo.
I'm Dre. And don't let your kids listen. Seriously, just don't.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, welcome back.
How you guys?
This is Handcuffs and Sage, and this is Timo.
I'm Red.
And I'm Dre.
And we got a bunch of new listeners this week. I'm really happy.
You know what we are?
Who are we?
We're so popular.
Yeah, we're so popular.
I want to give a shout out to Instagram messages and email messages of telling us we're doing a good job.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
I was shocked.
We were so
shocked
excited
to read these words.
Yeah, so excited.
And it makes us feel so good.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Give
It
us
does.
love.
Yeah, so we're excited that we're getting across to you guys, and you guys are liking what we're doing, and we're really, really, really happy.
I think I jumped up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was so
People are
funny
liking.
last week when we were talking about Dre's good deed, and she did the 80s jump at the end. Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
Like, woo! Like Breakfast Club at the end.
Frozen at the top. Woo! That's how I felt, baby. It just feels good. This has been a really good week.
Yeah,
I
surprisingly, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah,
it's very good.
surprisingly, it was good.
Let's talk about what we did today.
We did something really fun. So this is Timo, and it's my birthday on Monday, and there's something that I really wanted to do for a really, really long time. And the girls was like, well, what do you want to do for your birthday? And I'm like, I want to do this. So we ended up going to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Hollywood, California.
We're so cool.
And we did a
Yeah.
little private tour with a couple other people, and we walked around for 2.5 hours and
I
learned.
got steps in.
Yeah.
My allergies are going
Oh,
on. Every time I sneeze, I thought, I'm going to pee my pants.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
going to pee my pants.
These girls roughed it out for me. So Dre is allergic to cats, and something about Hollywood Forever is it's known for its feral cat issue.
Mhm.
I think it's because there's so many treats going
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
that place, man.
It's a lot of
We had a
treats.
tour guide. Her name was Carrie.
Carrie Bible.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi,
Bible.
Carrie. Thank you. It was so much fun. We had a great time.
And she gives treats to this one particular cat
That loves her to death.
close up.
Followed us everywhere we went. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this cat close up was going on the tour with us basically the entire time, getting mass treats
Yeah.
every stop.
We got some really cool pictures of our day and of close up. So I'm going to actually put all that on the website.
Mhm.
This was our March adventure. So this will be under our March adventure. So it was
It was fun. There was a lot of history, a lot of fun stories that I had never heard.
Mhm.
And I love hearing new fun stories. And I think we'll do some true crime
Yeah.
on some of the things that we heard.
Yeah, we're
All right, I will.
she gave us some movie recommendations, she gave us some book recommendations. So I wanted to check out M.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about M. M is like an old school
Mm-hmm.
serial killer movie, black and white, made in Germany.
Yeah.
And this man that was buried in this mausoleum was the main actor of this. So I thought it was EM. So I was looking up wrong movie. So it's just M,
Mm-hmm.
like the letter M.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have it on Amazon.
Oh.
You have to rent it. But-
I'm not doing it.
But it's on YouTube. YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay.
she mentioned
And
that.
Yeah,
I
I'll
watched
do
it on
YouTube.
YouTube, but it's in German with the English
The
subtitles. Yes.
Mm.
And I was so tired from today walking around like a crazy person. I conked out. So I'm like, all right, like the German was putting me to sleep.
German
And I
puts me to
couldn't
sleep
read.
also.
I couldn't read, and I'm like, okay. So I shut it off. So I'll have to watch it. But it's friggin' freaky, man.
She said it was
Yeah.
freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said the actor Peter Lorre actually, in real life, people would run away from him.
Yes.
I was like, if you did that good of a performance, I want to
Yes.
see it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I gotta see it.
And he just has that like creepy vibe in him.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it was so I'm gonna have to like do it when I'm not tired. Like have some
The
coffee in the morning.
German made
Yeah.
you the tired.
Mhm.
Right.
I
So
speak German to my dogs.
really?
I do.
Speaking of your dogs,
Okay, so I need to just let everybody know right off the bat. My boys are camping this weekend, and so nobody is watching the dogs, and the dogs are going crazy. They will be barking through this whole
Right.
episode.
Yeah.
They are a little bit lonely. If you're new to the podcast, in
Welcome.
the earlier episodes when we used to record in the great room of Red's home with echoes and everything throughout the house, the Velvet and Frank did hourly visits to us.
Sure.
They would wrestle, they would run around, they would bark, they would do all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. So if you guys have missed
It's
them,
really fun.
welcome back. They are here now to join us in our podcast.
I wish they were going to be good. Not gonna happen.
But it's kind of scary too because we're kind of home alone with like nothing, and then they start barking for no reason, and it's kind of scary. But
Well, there's wind outside, so
Okay.
they need to protect us.
we're all locked up, so
Yeah.
we're okay. We're okay.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll check out. And then she mentioned the 5.
Yes.
Talking about
It's a book.
A book.
This reminds me, I have to charge my fire, and my fire, because I'd rather read books on my fire now, just because it's late at night and whatever. But it takes an Android charger, and it has the old school Android charger, and my boys have these stupid chargeable Xbox controllers. They've taken all my Android chargers, and so my fire's been dead for I don't know how long.
I have one. I'll give it to you. I have so many.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
nice. That is
Thanks,
nice.
Dre.
Wow,
Welcome.
good deed
Yeah.
for the week.
And I have all my spooky book stories on there, like
Yeah.
true life hauntings that people have written that I want to do that I can't because it's been dead. So, all
Well,
right.
Now
So-
the problem will be fixed.
Yeah.
So we should read the 5, and it's
Yes, I
about
want to read the 5.
Jack the Ripper's 5 victims, but really about who they were and their
Prior
lives.
to the murders.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
I would love
love that too.
Mhm.
And I was telling her that when I was at CrimeCon, they did the whole thing about the Black Dahlia, but it wasn't about her murder. It was about her life and who she was and these letters she wrote. And she was in
Aw.
love, like just a sweet teenage girl. Like imagine, how you were at that age, and it just made you think, oh my gosh, this sweet innocent person got
Yeah.
murdered, and
Yeah.
we were all crying at
Yeah.
CrimeCon. It was very sad. So probably the same thing with the
Yeah,
5.
I'm excited.
Right?
I love that century of London.
Yeah.
It just intrigues me.
I just think about having, your period during that time
Oh.
and how I could
Yeah,
never live
horrible.
back then.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I think about
Yeah.
back in the day, I'm like, no thanks. You
Yeah.
don't have Tampax Sport. No
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. When I went to London, I actually did the nighttime walking tour of Jack the Ripper, where they took you around and showed you all the spots where the bodies were found. And it's like modern day London now, so a lot of the places are like not like what, but he would show a picture like this is what it looked like back in the 1800s.
Crazy town.
And it was just so cool. I loved it. Yeah. So
Very interesting.
yeah.
History's
sure.
fun.
Yeah,
History
it's
is fun.
Yeah.
Let's learn from history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I like about the paranormal too, because you learn a lot of history along with like all the crazy, like
Yeah.
scary stuff that comes along with it. So
Yeah. I've learned a lot.
yeah, you're gonna learn more today.
Oh shit.
Yes,
buckle up.
we're gonna get scientific today.
Science.
Oh, I
Science.
love science.
All right, so you go first because
Okay.
I want you to.
Okay, so I jumped on the red bandwagon again.
You can't be like me.
I am, and I'm going to do an Irish story.
Oh!
Yay! So what I am going to do is the Leap Castle.
Lip Castle.
And
All
it's
right.
spelled Leap like leap, but it's called Leap.
And we will start the game. Take a shot when you try to
it's
pronounce
going-
something.
I have quite a few of those today too.
Yay!
Oh, y'all are gonna get
Yeah.
wasted.
So our girl Heather, she's a fan of our podcast.
yes, Heather. Hi, Heather.
She's donated some wine to our cause,
Aw.
and she's like, "Oh, I think that's sad that they made your translations into a drinking game." Like, oh no, it's okay, it's
Not
fun,
sad.
it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's
It's
fun.
fun.
It's
fun.
March.
Yeah.
You gotta
fun.
drink when you
Yeah.
talk
Just-
about Irish stories.
Really, what it is, Heather, is we're just looking for a reason.
Heather, back off. We need this.
So funny.
Don't take away our reason.
This is our time.
Okay. So Leap Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Leap Castle is in Ireland.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So we're going to go on to Ireland, and it's considered the most haunted castle in Ireland.
How many times have I heard this, though? It's the most haunted castle. It's the most haunted house.
There's a lot of haunted shit in
Mm-hmm.
the UK and in Europe and in Ireland and Scotland, just because it's thousands of years older than America.
Stephanie, book us, please, to the UK.
Yes, UK, Ireland, Scotland, please.
Write that down.
Yes.
Oh, you guys
okay.
were going to the UK.
Yay!
Woo!
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited
Yes.
for our trip.
Okay.
What am I gonna pack?
But, you know, I think it is the most haunted castle in Ireland. But before we're going to talk about the castle, I'm going to talk about the stone tape theory. And
Okay.
we're going to call it STT.
Okay.
And I've talked about this before on other stories about how hauntings are, there's either residual hauntings
Mhm.
or there's intelligent hauntings.
Mhm.
So it's said about a residual haunting is that it's like a playback of what's happening in a
Mhm.
past event, whether it be traumatic or it could even be a happy moment, whatever. So if an apparition doesn't react to you, if it's doing the same thing over and over and over again, or you hear the same sounds
Mhm.
over and over and over again, that is a residual haunting.
Okay.
So in STT, the stone tape theory, it's a theory that certain hauntings are similar to taped recordings, which is actually the residual. And mental impressions are also taped due to either emotional or traumatic events. So this energy is recorded into rock, into stone, and into other items such as rusted nails that may be like in an old log
I see what you're saying.
cabin.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's replayed under certain conditions.
Interesting.
So bedrock, building stone, quartz, limestone, they remain unchanged for hundreds, even thousands of years. Like the rocks just stay the same. So that's why they're the perfect thing to take in the energy and just replay it over and over and over again.
Is that why people have like healing stones? And I mean, kind of like going with
Exactly.
the same
Yes.
line here.
Yeah.
That it would hold energy.
Yes, because there were some sites that I looked this up and it carried on to the healing stones and crystals and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So imagine what a castle has recorded. A castle is made out of, the whole thing is stone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have
Oh.
all these traumatic
Yeah.
events and everything, thousands and thousands of years, what has a castle recorded?
When you said stone castle, I just thought immediately, how cold.
Oh,
I know.
they are
It's
cold.
so cold.
They
I would
are
be cold all the
Yes,
time.
they're cold.
in a
I could
stone.
not live in the castle.
No.
Well, maybe now because I'm having hot flashes, I might actually like
You
it.
would be fine.
Yeah, I
in
would be
the
fine
stone
now. Yeah.
castle. I
Put her
would
face
not.
on
I
the
sleep with a heating pad every night.
Oh, dang.
Like
What?
yes, I am cold all
Oh
the
my
time.
gosh. I
Yeah,
would be
I should
melting.
look into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be
maybe.
melting.
I gotta like cold and hot. So I'm the kind that has to have like a blanket on one side and then one leg sticking out
Mhm.
because I don't know what I want.
Yeah, that's
know?
me too.
Yeah, and then I get cold and I cover up, and then I get hot and I take it off.
Yeah.
What do you want, Dre?
No idea.
Welcome to life.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So Lep Castle is located in Coolderry, the county of Offaly.
Yes, that's
Ireland.
two shots.
Yep, 2 shots. Offaly is right. I know that for sure. But I have
I
soda.
didn't make the right
Dang.
Okay, let's try one more time. 2
Okay.
shots.
That's my soda. Lame. All right. So as castles go, look-wise, it's just average. It's you look at it, it's nothing spectacular.
What is this? An average castle?
It's an average castle. Some say it was built in 1250 AD, but others say that it was built in the 15th century, which would make it somewhere in the 1400s. And the site that it was built on was occupied by Druids. Okay, so what are Druids? Druids are high-ranking professionals in the ancient Celtic culture. They were religious leaders, they were legal authorities, they were lore keepers, doctors, and politicians. So basically, these people did it all. They were like the cream of the crop.
They were the leaders.
They were the leaders,
Okay.
right? And they used this area for an initiation ceremony.
Oh, I would be the worst in any initiation ceremony. I would immediately give up and be like, I can't be in this group.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out.
Yeah, right. It wasn't like a hazing with college. This is crazy. So I looked up initiation ceremonies and there wasn't really much, but it
Did you
took
see some
me,
fun images though?
yeah, it took me to like human sacrifices and other fucked up shit. Like they even had like what are those boxes that people you in like people you know, like they're like deprivation boxes or something like that, where like they like
What?
yeah, where they put you in a box so you don't have like in a box of water or whatever, so that you can't hear. It's supposed to
I see.
it's
yeah,
supposed to
like
like
the-
get you to feel better about something. I don't know,
Like a
something.
deprivation
Yeah.
chamber. But
Yes.
yes, I understand.
So
what
they
you're
did shit like that. They just did all kinds of fucked up shit, and
And now
Uh,
we pay for that.
saying.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a group on
Right.
it right now.
Yeah.
So this may have conjured up something that I'm going to talk about in a little while.
I think you just ruined these deprivation things for me right now.
We're going to get a call from Groupon tomorrow for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So if you guys want to look up all this crazy fucked up shit, I found a really cool website. It's called sacredfire.net, and the story's called Celtic Ritual, and it was crazy. Like I want to just talk about it, but that's going to be another crazy story because that was just too crazy. So Lep Castle was originally named, okay, here we go, Lem o Banya.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Lem o Banya. I had to write it in like phonics right here. So it means leap of the Albanians.
The Albanians.
Okay. So the Albanians were an affluent clan from the county of Tipperary. And the legend is that two Albanian brothers were contesting the chieftainship of the clan. So basically, this is like the head of the clan. And so these brothers challenged each other to leap from a tall rock where the castle was to be built. And the survivor would then be the chief.
Who thought of this?
I don't know.
Oh my God, it's awful.
You all get to die.
Right, right.
They both
But
died.
at least I'll be chief.
Well, we don't know. We don't know because like it's been lost. This was like 600 years ago. So like the
Because they're
story,
all dead.
yeah, the story's like been lost
We'll
through
never
time.
know.
So we don't know really who won and what the outcome was of that. But that's how it got its name, the Albanian Leap.
Wow.
So that's why it's called Lep Castle.
Okay.
So the Albanians rule didn't last very long. There was another.
Well, they were jumping off
I know,
rocks.
right. So along came another clan called the O'Carrolls, and they were a ruthless and dominating clan. They ended up seizing the castle and they took it over. And they used the castle for battles, many gruesome massacres, all inside of the walls of the castle. So you can imagine what crazy shit this castle has endured. So the chief of the O'Carrolls ended up dying without naming a successor. I guess this was common with the clans because the Albanians hadn't done that either.
So it wouldn't have been, this is my firstborn son, it goes to him. They have to name
Yes,
a successor.
right.
Okay.
Unless there is nobody else. So if it's like one son or one daughter that's left, it will go to them.
Or,
Okay.
any women. I'm sure they didn't give it to any women.
No, they did give it to
They
daughters.
did.
A daughter. If a daughter was the only surviving
That's
child,
awesome.
the daughter would
They're
be
progressive.
Yeah.
They're progressive.
right. So there were two brothers again that were fighting over the chieftainhood. And their names were Taddis and Teague. And Taddis was a priest. And one day he was holding mass up in the castle's chapel. And Teague snuck up there and stabbed him with his sword and killed his brother,
Oh, shit.
who was a priest.
At the church.
Yeah, in their chapel.
Oh, my goodness.
So the chapel is now called the Bloody Chapel because of this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Tatus spirit still roams the castle looking like a priest or like a monk. So people have seen a monk looking guy or a priest looking guy in a robe walking around the
Murdered
castle.
by your brother
Murdered by your brother.
while you're giving a
And you were
sermon
yeah,
up in the chapel.
craziness.
That is craziness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
But one of the most horrendous slayings of the O'Carroll, sorry, was that of the McMahon family.
The McMahons.
The McMahons. So the McMahons killed, or they had a battle, and they won over a rival of the O'Carrolls, and they were stoked. They're like, cool, now we
They
don't have
were
to.
me when I got that email
Yeah,
this week.
yeah, like, so they're
Probably
like-
the same level of excitement.
So sure, so sure. They were like, cool, now we don't have to take care of this clan. These guys took it over. Well, they invited them over for a big feast and a celebration, and they had it up in the Bloody Chapel.
Do they not watch Game of Thrones?
No,
Okay.
I know, right?
Okay.
For sure, for sure.
Hello.
And instead of giving them this like party, they poisoned them all.
The bloody wedding.
Yes, so 29.
Wait, is it the red wedding?
The red
It was
wedding.
a
The
red
red
wedding,
wedding.
yeah, yes.
Oh, that was such a crazy episode,
Yeah,
dude.
oh, it was so good.
Woo!
Yes. So
So
29.
they probably got this from
Yes, so
this.
29
Yeah.
of the McMahons dead. But they couldn't leave it at that. So what they did was then they chopped their heads off and they kicked their heads out the window
They had to kick
into
them.
the field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they kick them.
Yeah.
Get something like that.
They kicking the McGannons.
So the McMahons now are said to also haunt the whole castle. Well,
With
fucking
no
of
heads.
course. Yes. Like, come on. Like,
Headless people.
they went thinking they were going to have a big celebration, and the Carols, they were going to be like, yeah, you're so wonderful.
Party time.
And they died.
That's super fucked.
Yeah, that's so fucked up.
It's a toxic friendship there.
I thought we were cool, man.
The O'Carrolls are worse. Something worse is going to happen now
Ugh,
with the O'Carrolls.
I don't-
The carols are worse.
Yes, it just gets better. So this one is the really fucked up story. It's the story about the Red Lady. So legend is that she was kept captive by the O'Carrolls in a dungeon.
Because she had amazing red hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much like someone you might know.
Yes.
When it's
Well,
dyed properly.
yes. Her hairdresser's out of town this weekend.
He's camping.
So she was raped repeatedly.
No.
And when
Oh,
she
God. That's.
yes,
Ugh.
and when she became pregnant, they murdered the baby.
No.
And said the reason was that they couldn't afford to feed it. That was their reasoning.
What?
I don't like the
Yeah,
O'Carrolls.
no.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no. This clan
You know
was
what?
fucked up.
Dicks.
Right.
Mm.
So she was so distraught she killed herself with a dagger.
Oh, my God.
So she is seen as a very tall apparition in a fluttering red gown.
Damn, Ray!
Yes.
Mixing it up.
Holding a bloody dagger.
Jesus.
And she just has this like weird, strange glow radiating around her. And there's an immense cold that fills the room when she comes in.
We have so much in common.
Yes, but this cold, no, listen, this is not you.
Oh.
This cold wraps around your heart. So if you're a living person, you feel this like coldness in your heart. I don't know what that feels like, but I don't want to fucking ever feel that.
A cold heart?
Yeah, a cold heart.
Pass. I pass.
Oh, a cold black heart. You're being seen by the Red Lady.
Yes.
Mhm.
Maybe a Halloween costume. I don't know. We'll talk.
Ooh.
Mm.
What are you, a red ghost? Yes, I'm a fucking red ghost.
Sit down and listen to this episode. You'll know all about it.
So now we're going to go to the 1600s. The daughter of the O'Carroll chief fell in love with an English prisoner that they were keeping in the dungeon.
Oh.
And he was called Captain Darby.
Captain Dobby.
Darby.
Yes.
So she would sneak down and give him food and hang out
Oh,
with
she
him.
was giving him other things
yes.
besides food, okay?
Oh, yeah.
She was given
Ew,
lots of
but
things.
think about it. That's so gross. Like, he's
Yeah.
been in the dungeon for like...
Ew.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Back then, nobody be
I know,
washing.
but
Nobody
yeah.
was nobody be
How
clean.
could they be, like, normal? Like, how could things be working right?
You're so cute.
Working right.
They still all did it. They still all had kids back then.
Yeah,
You know what
I guess.
And
Yeah.
it turns out a lot of people aren't washing their hands now. So.
Oh my gosh.
How did they survive?
Right?
Yeah, we're back in the medieval times, probably.
Yeah. We're
Gross.
basically in the medieval
Gross.
times.
Gross. All right, it's the new plague. So they made plans to elope. And they...
He's like, yeah, get me out, bitch, and I'll
right,
marry
let's
your
go,
ass.
bitch. Yes. This guy had it made, though. Wait, listen. This is so good. So they were walking down the staircase, and they were caught by her brother.
Oh shit! It's always the brother.
So there was a duel between Dobby and the
Whoa!
brother, and guess who won?
Dobby.
Dobby.
Oh,
Dobby,
yeah.
my love.
Yes, so since she was the sole heir of the clan,
Badass.
she became the clan chief
Wow.
when her father died. So her and Darby were now living it up in the castle, and they were like rolling around in the dough, rolling around in the power.
Her
Darby went all crazy. He's
Oh.
like, oh yeah, they ended up calling him the Wild Captain because he would go out, find treasures, and then he would hide them in the house because he didn't want anybody, or in the castle because he didn't want anybody stealing his treasures. But then later he was imprisoned for treason in Dublin for a few years, and then they sent him back to Leap Castle. But he, by this point, from being locked up for so long, he became mad. And he couldn't find his treasure anymore. Like, he couldn't remember where he hid it all.
No.
So,
didn't draw a map.
no, he didn't. So, legend
She
has it
always
that it's
has.
still there.
Oh,
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah.
Stephanie, we need to find the treasure right there. Oh, we're gonna find the treasure. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah. So, his apparition is seen wildly searching for his missing treasure through the house. So this castle stayed in the possession of the Darby family for like 300 years.
Think about living in this castle though, and knowing though how many people had died.
Yes,
you know
I
back
know.
then that would
But
have
maybe
been
that was
awful.
the norm, though. You know,
300 people haven't died in
it
your
was
house.
war. No,
It's
but
normal.
But like it was war, and it was like
Yeah.
bad times, and
Ugh.
you know, I don't know.
Not a fan.
So Darby's children remained in the castle. Jonathan Darby married Mildred Hill. And I'm liking this, Mildred. She was a Gothic novelist, and she was very, very interested in the paranormal. So she held many seances in the castle. She did a lot of rituals and a lot of crazy shit, okay? And they say that this awakened the elemental.
Oh,
So let me
that
tell you,
bad?
yes, let me tell you what an elemental is.
Okay.
Remember when the druids would do their sacrifices and everything, they conjured up this evil entity.
okay.
It's never been human before. It's very horrible. It's
Okay.
almost like a shadow person, but worse.
Okay.
Okay. And Mildred has said to have encountered this elemental, like she actually seen it and encountered it. And she said it was a thin, gaunt, shadowy, skeleton looking guy.
Ugh.
And he smells of rotting flesh.
Ew.
And
She's all. What's that
That's
smell?
not.
It's my flesh, Ron.
So the Darbys were later forced out in 1922 because there was a
So they
battle.
were there for a long time.
They were there like
yeah.
300 years, and it was like Ireland and England were fighting, I guess, and the Darbys were English.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. I don't know. So they were English, so the Irish kicked them out of the castle, or they had to leave because they
Okay.
were going to come in there and they were going to kill them. So the IRA, which is the Irish Republican Army, after they left, they bombed it, they looted it, and then they hung huge dead peacocks
No.
on meat hooks along the towers of the castle.
What does that mean?
That is
I don't know what that
Rude.
means, but we saw a shitload of peacocks today, and I told you, remember, I go, I'm going to have peacocks in my story.
Mhm.
Ooh.
So in the 1900s, so the Darbys are still in the castle. They were starting to do renovations, and they found an oubliette.
What was that?
Oubliette.
All right, let's take a shot.
It's spelled oubliette, but it's pronounced oubliette, and it means to forget in French. Okay? So what this was a secret dungeon with a trap door. And this was found in the Bloody Chapel.
I mean, I have one of those too.
No, you don't.
It's in the West Wing.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Well, what they found at the bottom of this little dungeon was 3 full cartfuls of human bones.
No.
And they also found wooden stakes or spikes sticking up at the bottom of the
What?
dungeon. It's
So,
just
like-
this square 8-foot drop.
So were they throwing people
Oh
down?
yeah, the O'Carrolls would just throw people down and they would get spiked and die down there. And they just left them down there to rot.
That's awful.
Yeah. These people were cool.
God.
Really, really, really cool.
That's so
Oh
sad.
my
Imagine like
So-
you land on it and
Yeah,
you're not dead.
yeah.
but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the dead
Oh,
around you.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
And then
that's
you
what's
slowly
happening.
And you
die?
slowly died and suffered.
And you still
Oh.
got
Or
hungry.
maybe you
probably.
missed, maybe it just got your leg or something.
But you're stuck.
And then you're stuck down there.
That's
not gonna
awful.
not gonna get out.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck the O'Carrolls.
They were fucked up. All right. So in 1970, an Austrian historian named Peter Bartlett bought the property. And fun fact, he was actually related to the O'Banions, who were the first people to build
Oh, that
the
is
candle,
a
the
fun
castle.
fact.
And he spent 15 years restoring the castle.
That's a long time.
And he witnessed so much activity.
Mm.
Now they say that even in haunted houses, normal homes that are said to be haunted, once you start renovating, it spikes
Oh.
up the activity. They're like,
Okay.
"What the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing?"
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it makes them confused because you might knock a wall down, you might put a wall up. That's why they say you see spirits walk through walls, because maybe in their time that wall didn't exist and they were just walking straight through like a hallway or whatever.
Mhm.
So all this activity came up. So he got a little bit superstitious and he hired a white witch, in the 70s, to drive out the spirits. So she did her whole little thing. Maybe she did some smudging, maybe she did some chants, and she told him that the spirits said they wanted to stay, but they would not cause any more trouble.
Don't kick me out.
Yeah,
please.
they didn't want to leave. So in 1989, he died. So 18 years into doing whatever, or 19 years, he ended up dying. Sad. So now in 1991, musician Sean Ryan bought it. And he's owned it now for almost 30 years. He is the
Wow.
current owner of Lep Castle. He's had many freak accidents happen throughout the many years that they've been renovating and doing stuff. I hope you guys can hear me. A worker broke his kneecap, which delayed renovations. He broke his ankle. And then this is kind of bizarre and crazy. So him and his wife had their first daughter, and they decided to throw her christening up in the bloody chapel.
What?
So weird.
A
I
baby's
don't know.
christening?
Yeah, so weird,
I don't know.
right?
Would you do that?
She's
I
like,
don't
hear me
know.
out, babe. It's gonna be amazing. This is where we're gonna have the
So
christening.
crazy.
Oh, that's awful.
So today the castle's not open to the public, but he's really cool. There's a lot of websites that basically just has his phone number right out there in the open.
Wow.
But he
And
doesn't do tours or
He
anything.
doesn't do tours, but if you go to him, like go
Mhm.
knock on the door, he'll be like, "Yeah, come in,"
Oh.
and he'll give you a
Oh.
private tour.
Stephanie, we will be going to
Sean
the
Ryan's castle. Yes.
We're gonna check it out.
Yeah, we
Yay!
are.
We're going to the castle.
Right. So, Paranormal Investigators has done shows on this. Scary Places on Earth, Most Haunted, Ghost Hunters, and Ghost Adventures. Now, fun fact, Most Haunted was like my initiation into like the ghost shows. It's a British paranormal series. It ran from 2002 to 2012. I was addicted to this show. It's hosted by Yvette Fielding, and then they had a medium on there that would come all the time, and his name is Derek O'Correll. He just passed away like a couple months ago. I follow another medium who is on many different shows, and I guess he was friends with him, and that's how I found out through his
That's sad.
and yeah, so that was my first show. I was totally addicted. It's great. If it's not like a modern day, like all the machines and whatever.
Mhm.
She is awesome. She's fully scared. It's just awesome. I love it. It's such a good show. So in Ghost Hunters, they Nick, when Nick was still, no, it wasn't Nick. Maybe it was Nick on Ghost Adventures. I'm not sure which one it was. But he caught an EVP of a scream.
Oh,
And you
my
can hear it.
God.
So
Wow.
he's just up in this bloody chapel right by himself. And an EVP, you don't hear with your own ears. So when you play it back, you hear what you didn't realize you were hearing. It's crazy. So there's a story.
Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. So there's a story that two little girls were playing up there, two little sisters. One was Emily and one was Charlotte. And Emily, she was the younger one. She decided to climb up on this like rope ladder and she fell. And she screamed all the way down and died.
Oh, no.
Oh, sad.
So that might be the scream that he caught. And then Charlotte, being the bigger sister, felt guilty her whole life. So she's back in the castle now searching for Emily. So they see both
That's
little girls
sad.
playing. So that I thought, oh my God, when I read the story about Charlotte and Emily, and then they captured that EVP of screaming, that was probably her screaming. So scary.
Oh, God.
And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is I watched a show, and these paranormal investigators were talking about, and they're actually from Ireland. They went into Leap Castle. They were investigating the Bloody Chapel, and this one guy said that all of a sudden he was in a daze, and he saw himself walk to this, it's like an open window. So there's like two parts, and then there's like a center stone. But you could a human could basically squeeze through these little windows, and it's like straight down. There's no screen, there's no window. It's just an open stone. Mm-hmm. And someone kept on telling him, jump, it's okay. You'll survive. Nothing's going to happen to you. Just jump. And he was almost ready to jump. And then one of his other investigators like tapped him on the shoulder and said, dude, get away from there. And he like snapped out of it.
What?
But he still,
the chills.
Yeah, but he still remembers that. And this is the chapel where the priest was killed, where they killed the McMahons, and where they cut the heads off and actually kicked the heads out of that particular window.
Crazy.
Yeah, so he says it just affects you emotionally. It's like some type of mind control thing going on over there. And yeah, it's so crazy.
So this is a very haunted location.
I think it's crazy.
So we'll definitely go there on our tour.
Yeah.
That Stephanie's putting together.
And that Sean Ryan looks really cool. He has long white hair now. He's
Hey, Sean Ryan.
Yeah, he's really cool looking.
Hopefully we get to meet him.
So yeah, it was really cool. So there's a lot of shows on there. There's a lot of stuff on Leap Castle. But yeah, so I wanted to give the theory about the stone and how much shit was recorded in this castle.
That's so interesting
Yeah.
and cool.
Yeah, so there we go. Leap Castle.
Yay!
Yay.
Good job.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, I've been waiting for this. All week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
I
then
didn't cheat this time.
there's new stuff, right?
There's
new
new
stuff.
information.
Just come in.
So if you remember, I'm doing a story about Kieran Kelly.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's a drunkard and a chomp.
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to kind of do an overview of what I had talked about briefly before.
Good.
So if we remember, he was a homeless person and he was a little bit out of control.
Just a bit.
Him and his homeless friends drank Red Biddy all the time, right?
Right.
And got into some trouble. He ended up getting upset once somebody was sleeping on his gravestone that he liked to sleep on. He had murdered other homeless people. He had been known to, tell men to like come with him, maybe for like a homosexual act, and then, do horrible things to them, right? So then he was also known to shove people in front of tube trains.
Right.
Okay. So this is what we know about him because he had been arrested. He had been put in a cell with someone who I guess was a loud snorer, and he wasn't having any of that. And he killed him. His name was William Boyd.
Right.
Okay, so he ends up, of course, being arrested for that murder and then deciding, I'm just going to come clean, or as he put, clean the books.
Right.
And just kind of confess everything. And he is quite the character. Right, he really is. Okay, so now we're talking about why we really haven't heard about this person.
Right.
Right. And I think that's kind of crazy because I know true crime.
Yeah.
You hear about a lot of the same ones over and over again. I have never heard about Kieran Kelly.
And I couldn't find many things.
No.
Like many pictures.
Are you kidding me?
There was like
It's
that
so
one
hard.
picture of him that I posted on
There is not
social media.
a lot.
And then like the book. that someone wrote about him, which has the same picture of that picture on
That's
the cover
right.
of the book.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's been really hard, but really interesting.
Okay. I don't know how you did it, but that's so cool
Thank
that you
you.
did. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of trying to catch us up now. So going into this, like you had mentioned, there is a book, right?
Mhm,
And we
mhm.
want to talk about this book a little bit. So Kelly had gone unnoticed. It had been 30 years after he had killed the man in the cell, William Boyd, and 60 years after his very first victim, if you remember, was Christy Smith, who was his friend who had kind of maybe mentioned that he knew
Oh,
Kelly
right.
was a
Mhm.
homosexual or alluded to that.
Right.
And that was his 1st
Mhm.
victim.
Right.
He
Mhm.
pushed him in front of a train. So not real friends.
No.
You know why? Because friends don't do that.
No, they
If
don't.
y'all try to push me in front of a train,
God.
I will lose my shit. I will haunt the fuck out of that tube train.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so in 2015 is when this book came out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So this book comes out by Jeff Platt, and it's all over the media, right?
Mhm.
Because in this book, he's talking about this killer, this underground station killer, serial killer that
Mhm.
nobody's heard of,
Mhm.
and that this killer, Kieran Kelly, had killed up to 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
So when he initially confessed with the detectives, I don't know if you remember, he had confessed to maybe 13, 14,
Right.
15, around that number.
Mhm.
Right.
So this book comes out and he's like, no, it's like 30 people
Dang.
that he pushed. So this is all over the media. It's on news broadcasts. It's kind of all over the UK
Okay.
and Ireland that they're talking about this. It's the book is called The London Underground Serial Killer, and it's written by a retired detective.
Mm.
Okay, Jeff Platt.
Oh, this is gonna get good.
It's good.
I can already imagine.
No, I wanna read
Written
it.
by a policeman who knew Kieran Kelly, who
Mm.
had worked on the Kelly case. He said that he had taken Kelly into his confidence, right? So Jeff Platt, the author of this book, says that Kelly was born in Rathdowney outside Dublin in 1923. And Platt is being interviewed on the Ray Darcy show. It's at RTE Radio back in 2015. And you guys can look back and you can hear these interviews, which is kind of
Mhm.
cool. And Platt is stating that he was in the room with two detectives and Kelly had confessed to 16 murders.
Mhm.
So not the 13, 14, 15
Right.
Okay.
that was originally stated. Okay.
Yeah.
16 murders.
Wow.
So Brown had said it was this number. Platt is saying, no, he confessed to 16, that he had been in the room when he heard it. Platt also said that Kelly personally confessed to him about a whole other set of murders that went undetected. These were people that were shoved in this tube station.
Wow.
I always want to say train station, but they call it a tube.
The tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tube. Okay. So these murders were at random on the London Underground by pushing complete strangers in front of tube trains.
Oh my God.
So the new book put the total at around 24 killings in that setting.
Mm-hmm.
And the book gave a reason why no one had ever heard of these killings. Platt said the Home Office put pressure on the Metropolitan Police to not let the story get out. They feared mass panic and public condemnation for allowing it for 30 years.
Oh.
Wow.
So Chief of the London Metropolitan
No
Police, Sir Bernard Hogan Howe, cornered on a London radio show.
Oh no.
He said he found it hard to believe it was covered up. So now the Kelly case was opened up again
Wow.
in 2015. So it's in the news. It's on the newspapers. It's all over the place. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? Was there a serial killer and nobody told us about it?
Damn.
I always like to know if there's a serial killer in my
that would
area.
be nice to know.
Let me know.
Maybe I won't take the
And those
tube.
thousands of people that use the tube every day, thinking that this weirdo dude might have just pushed you.
Anyone could have just pushed
Oh
you.
my God.
You know?
And it's scary if you think about it, even with Los Angeles, when you take the red line or
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it is. Like anybody could just come up
They
behind you
just
and push
bump
you.
you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that is scary.
Ah.
Okay, so a journalist and a documentary maker, Robert Mulhern, he's amazing. He's just fabulous. He said police cover-ups had been huge, and this was a new scandal. So already at the time, they had been hearing, I guess, about other scandals over there with the police. So this like blew up, right? This just kind of took off. He said it had been happening at the time, and the Irish people weren't getting a fair rap. Irish people haven't been getting a fair rap for a very long time.
Ever.
Mhm.
Irish people had been mistreated definitely in the UK in the 70s and the 80s. It was the time of, violent bombing campaign by the IRA in Britain. There was prejudice against the Irish workers in the UK seeking work in a time of recession and high unemployment on both sides of the Irish Sea. So people really just took it out on the Irish, but really the Irish were willing to do the work for less, right?
Of course, yes.
Right. So it was a deeply confrontational atmosphere from the British government under Margaret Thatcher. Do you remember Margaret Thatcher?
Uh-huh.
And her hair. I always think
know,
about her
yeah.
hair. She was like, yes, this is how I'll do my hair now at some point. Okay, Margaret, sure. Oh. Her special somebody was like, yeah, it looks good.
I know.
Love you, babe. Hope you have a good day at work. Police would falsely accuse Irish people of serious crimes and imprison them during this period. So, on the Ray Darcy show, they were asking, why wasn't this spotted? Were there witnesses? Surely alarm bells should have been ringing if this was happening, right? So, Platt, the investigation had been completed within a couple months. So, Jeff Platt, the one that had written the book, said the investigation wrapped up in just a couple months. A report was set up to the Director of Public Prosecutions in London, and it was his decision on what charges would be filed. They decided it wasn't in the public interest to broadcast the story. So Rob, the documentarian, decided to dig deeper than the newspapers and media to get to the bottom of this story. And I really do love Rob because he records a lot of his interviews and what he's thinking and everything.
Okay.
Fantastic. He has connections in Irish London to find out more about Kelly and what they remember about Kelly. He connected with priests in that neighborhood. Remember one of the murders, happened around the church. Nobody ever heard of it. They're like, we don't even know what you're talking about. So none of and the Irish people are so close.
What?
We can't shut our fucking mouths. So you would think that you would hear something. No, nobody. The priest, nobody.
And they weren't scared. Like they weren't paid off.
No,
they were
no,
just
right?
wow.
No, they're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So Jeff Platt, the author, went on TV and said 7 more cases had come to light since his book came out. Right?
Oh my God.
He was contacted by families of alleged suicides on the underground from the period which Kelly was active. So now it was 31 murders. So he's saying that people are saying our loved ones we were told that they had killed themselves, but that's not what happened.
And that's the saddest part. It's like, oh man, Aunt Jane committed suicide on the tube. You have like this idea.
This
idea about someone, and it's not even true because they were murdered. Sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rob decides to go to Jeff because the case had been reopened, right? So he wasn't able to investigate as much as he wanted to. On that side, the case is reopened. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this author of this book and kind of find out what he knows. So Rob tries to get a hold of Platt. He calls his publishing company, doesn't hear anything from Platt. He said something's weird about that because when somebody puts a book out, they want to do all the interviews and everything that they can. He said, he could find things on Google and YouTube and lots of things on him, but he was not getting back to Rob. And he thought, this is odd. This is really weird. 9 months later, after
Wow.
he's trying to get a hold of him, he said, "Yeah, let's meet for lunch." So they went by train to a place in London, and they did have this first meeting, and he records all of it. And it's very interesting.
Okay.
Really?
We can listen?
Yeah, you guys can listen.
On what, like YouTube?
There's a podcast. It's called The Nobody Zone, and you can hear all of it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
so cool.
Okay.
So on the way on the train to this meeting, Rob rereads Platt's book just to catch up and make sure he has all the information.
He does
Which I
his
just can
research.
see him, drinking his tea, reading the book,
Aw.
ready for
Wow.
his interview. So at the first meeting, it's in a hotel. It's across from the train. He said that when the interview starts, Jeff Platt is very subdued, very quiet, and then gets in the zone. So he said that he would take Kelly to court in a van, and then he got to know him.
Mm-hmm.
This is how he became friends with Kieran Kelly. He was a police officer when Kelly killed William Boyd because Boyd was a snorer. He was now the lead investigator on the Kelly case.
Okay.
One person for the whole case?
Hmm.
Kelly told him all about pushing people off the tube trains. Platt would look through newspaper archives. Do you remember, like, in all, like, the old movies, how
Yeah.
they were trying to get to the bottom of something and they would look at the newspapers, like, sliding by?
The microfiche.
Yes,
Yeah, uh-huh.
yes.
Love it.
So Platt is saying that that's what he did. Like, he would look through newspaper archives and found a number of alleged suicides
Mm-hmm.
where maybe a reporter who was doing the story over and over again would talk to Kieran Kelly on the scene.
What?
And he said, and his name kept coming up and up. So he confronted Kelly on what he found in these newspapers, and so Kelly confessed to him. Kelly had never seen or met, but they started talking to them. They would try to ignore, move away from them, and then Kelly would push them. So that's what he said would happen. Like he's a homeless person. If a homeless person starts talking to you, it can be a little frightening.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
someone starts charging you, that can be frightening.
Oh my
and
God.
then pushing you is terrifying.
Oh
Right.
my God.
Yes. So these deaths had been labeled suicides by the London Transport Police, and no cross checks had been made. Nothing connecting them. Okay.
Wow, that must have been like really common then.
It's
for
really
people
sad
to
because
commit suicides that way.
aren't Irish, they're Catholic, right?
Irish Catholic.
Typically Irish Catholic. And if you're Catholic and you commit suicide, you don't even get to be buried in a
Well, this was in the
cemetery.
UK.
Well,
This was in London.
buckle up, honey, because
Yeah.
this is not where you think it's going.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so they're saying that there was a lack of due diligence with cross-checking methods back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, I can't imagine
Yeah.
cross-checking shit in the
Right.
70s and
Yeah.
80s.
How would you do that?
I mean, you would need all the secretaries named Grace to get cross-checks done. And then, like I had said, he kept seeing Kelly's name coming up in these articles. So Jeff Platt said he recorded all sorts of evidence, interviews. He had gotten all this paperwork together, and it all had disappeared.
Oh.
So the Home Office, the UK government, decided they wanted to keep the Kelly killings on the down low. That's where we like to keep the serial killer killings on the down low.
Don't
Crazy.
tell the public.
Don't you tell the public. So Jeff Platt asked Kelly why he had done these things. Kelly said he was a homosexual. He was told at a young age that homosexuality was a terrible sin. He had been in the Roman Catholic Church and the IRA. And like we had said, back in 1953, his best friend had made some comment to him that made him feel like, oh my gosh, when we go home, he's going to tell everyone
Right.
I'm a homosexual. So he freaked out and, of course, shoved him in front of the tube train. I mean, as one does. Best friends forever. And he
Now it's done. I gotta
he
find a
skips
new
away.
one.
Woo! Handled it.
Oh my God.
Okay. So, at the meeting with Platt and Rob, things start getting weird.
Okay. All right.
So Rob asked him about being a bodyguard. So at the time that this interview is happening, he's a bodyguard. And Platt says he's been in 500 gun battles. He's killed 5. 4 with firearms, and 1 he ripped the nose off with the tire lever.
What? 500 gun battles.
Could you imagine being on like a blind date with this guy who's like, I've been in 500 gun battles. I've killed 5 people with 4 guns.
Like a Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah,
I know
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, I don't think you have. I got to go. Bye. So Jeff Platt's stories are getting weirder and weirder with very unlikely stories.
Oh, man.
He says he's still in policing. He's been involved with the VIP pedophile operation, investing priests. It's like
Oh.
he's all into all of this. He's
Mhm.
very important.
Mm.
He said he's had 10 students murdered in 10 years.
Okay.
That's a terrible track
Wow.
record.
Oh, my God. Like, what do you mean 10 students? Of
like
this?
like he taught what he knows as a bodyguard, and he's had 10 students die in 10 years.
What?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Platt is turning out to be quite a
So
character.
weird.
Oh my
And
God.
Rob, the documentarian, was like,
I call bullshit.
Oh.
Uh, So Platt exaggerates his stories, and he said he wrote the book in a weekend.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And it's because of this book that the newspaper and media had gotten involved and caused this case to be reopened.
Uh-huh.
And Jeff Platt is the only witness to Kelly saying he killed randoms on the tube.
Oh God.
Oh, my God.
Buckle up, bitches.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Shit.
She tricked us there.
Yeah,
You know
uh-huh.
she did. We were
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
You're tricky.
Chicky, chicky.
She's tricky.
She's tricky. So, I'm so sorry. So, Rob and Jeff have this interview, and Jeff is making some really odd statements, obviously, like a bad fucking date from home. And so Rob really starts looking into this, like, we need to look into him to see if he holds up, to see if his statements hold up, to see if this book holds up,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what does this mean? He said that at the time, Platt had stated that he had just been a police trainee or detective in training, but he got this whole case on his own because Platt had said, I was the only investigator handling this case. He said it was a cover-up. He said the number went up to 31, but couldn't give a list of the names
Oh.
that he couldn't back up what he was saying.
Hmm.
He would say, like, give me a list of, like, all these victims so we can kind of go through,
Right.
Mhm.
right? And Jeff would change subjects. So things weren't really adding up to Rob, and so his red flag meter was kind of
Yeah.
going, woo,
Yeah.
woo. And so he ended the lunch, and they were all done with their interview for the time.
Oh, my God.
Only the Irish Daily Mail really asked Platt some serious questions. Like, they had kind of done a deep dive, and so they were asking him things. And they found that Platt was wrong, even just about Kelly's date of birth and the place of his birth.
Making shit up.
Right. They found other discrepancies that Rob also found. So some red flags are kind of going up all over the place. So was this fake? Well, we have tapes. So there's tapes of Kieran confessing,
Mhm.
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Mhm.
what he's confessing to is 15 murders.
Right.
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 And the murders he did were so gross and awful, like the poisoning, the burning,
Yeah.
the anal stabbing.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah.
right,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
right. Totally did it.
The choking
did
to death.
it, just
Yeah.
all of the things.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, he's doing all the murder things.
For like the thrill of the kill.
Right.
Yeah.
But did he do all these other murders that Platt?
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Oh man, I see a twist
Yeah.
twist coming.
Plot twist. So Platt had said that he had found numerous articles about people falling in the tube train. And so he called, it was this newspaper, South London something, that he had said he had gotten these articles from, doing that, what's it called?
Microfiche.
That's right. And they said, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. We,
Oh.
red flag.
Yes.
Red flag alert. Where were these archives he was talking about? Where did he get this information?
His brain.
And then he was like, in stories of suicide, reporters rarely like covered like a suicide of that type, and they did not give witnesses full names in stories that things like that happen. So it would be very odd that they would talk to Kelly, get his full name, and have it come up in stories over and over again. Okay, all right. I guess we're breaking this shit down.
Yeah, we are.
Mhm. So then Platt claims that he was the only investigator on this
Yes.
case. Right. This is like a huge case, and they've chosen a trainee to handle it.
Hey, you're so good.
Hey,
Promotion.
promotion.
He got the honor roll, first in his class.
So Rob, the documentarian, is trying to find, of course, court documents, right? Because Platt's name should be in those if he was the only investigator on the case. He doesn't see Platt's name anywhere. So in the court documents, obviously it had said Kelly had been tried for the 2 murders in 1984, one for Hector Fisher and one for William Boyd, but they didn't try him for the other ones, okay? So Kelly had an attorney, assigned him. He was poor, so he was assigned him, and his name was John Slater. And so there's also interviews with John Slater. And so Rob is interviewing John, and he is still practicing. He's still an attorney. And he says he has a clear memory of Kelly, and he didn't dislike him.
Huh.
He was a likable guy.
Well, we're Irish. We're very likable. Likable and troubled. So Slater had been assigned to Kelly for the charge of attempted murder when the guy had been shoved, but he survived. And then, the 2 murders. And he had been acquitted for the Francis Taylor attempted murder charge. Remember, he kept kind of getting away with murders. Yeah. Okay. So Slater fully remembers him.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay. So, Jeff Platt had said one of the murders was Francis Taylor. And in that murder, there were 3 witnesses, a doctor, a lawyer, and an accountant. 3 very good witnesses. Well, it turns out Francis Taylor was not murdered. He was an attempted murder. He lived. So Platt was completely off base.
Yeah.
And he had been acquitted because there had been, remember, 1 witness, and he was a drunkard. Right? A drunkard tramp. So Platt didn't even get that right. So he also said, Slater had been his, attorney for all these cases, 31 cases. Well, he wasn't charged with 31 murders, and Slater did not defend him for 31 murders. Slater said he read Platt's book, and it was not a good read.
Well, it only did
He's a
take him
shitty
a
writer.
whole weekend.
I'm sorry. I'm just hearing him say, I'm going to pass. He said he doesn't know why Jeff Platt even wrote it. He had nothing to do with this case.
OMG.
But there are, recordings of the 2 detectives that did work on it. One of them was Ian Brown. And so Rob went and talked to Ian Brown. And Ian Brown would know if Platt had been in the room.
Yeah.
Right. And Brown says, and he's talking to Rob, I don't remember him being there. He wasn't even, there or part of anything. He was an apprentice detective at the time. And, fun fact, he never made detective.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. We
Surprise.
saw that coming.
Plot twist. Platt had been in charge of taking Kelly from prison to court, back to prison.
Oh.
He was a driver for him.
He was a
He's a chauffeur.
fucking driver. Wonder if he wore a black hat. Platt said he had talked to Kelly a lot. I guess he had gotten accommodation for the work he had done with Kelly. I don't know why he didn't do anything on it. But Platt was never present during these interviews and these tapes. So Brown is basically backing up the claims about the career is all wrong. He like completely lies about all this. 30 murders is all wrong. There wasn't 30 murders that was investigated. There was no cover up. Kelly was a serial killer. He did kill 15 people, but he was not a tube station serial killer.
Okay.
Wow.
So Rob, and this is so awkward, he taped this. Rob decides to confront Jeff Platt in an interview.
Dang.
I want to hear this.
So he sets up this interview and he finds out why it had been so hard to get a hold of Platt.
No
Remember those 9
wonder.
months?
Yeah,
Right.
He was in prison.
Oh my
I knew it.
God.
Oh, yeah.
He had been in prison for a road rage incident.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
How bad was that road rage?
I know.
You're not in Los Angeles, but you got to be
my
so upset about.
God.
This is great.
So I'm so sorry, my cough's coming because I'm laughing so hard. So Rob decides to meet Platt at Clapham Common, where Hector Fisher
Oh,
died.
Jesus.
We're not going there.
We're
Yeah,
setting
right,
a
bad
mood.
area. Yeah.
Not going there.
Stephanie, we're not going to Clapham Common. Okay, here we go. So there's recordings of this, and you hear him talking, and he brings up what's wrong with Jeff Platt's story
To Jeff.
to Jeff.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we gotta hear this.
I could never do this. I would get too scared to. Like, I would just like, everything's fine, your book's great. Bye. So in this recording, Jeff is getting really uncomfortable, right? So he's bringing up all the points we kind of went through. Like, talked to Brown. Brown said, you weren't the only investigator. You weren't in the room. You know, just bring... So Platt gets up and just starts walking away.
Bye.
I'm done.
He did
This
a
is
full
some
body.
Deuces.
And you can hear Rob going after him. And he's like, why aren't you talking about this? Why won't you tell me what happened? You know, tell me the truth. Blah, blah, blah. And Platt just keeps ignoring him. And he says, like, he's walking, like, away from, like, the train station where they would have gone to leave. And he walks the wrong way. And he's going after him, like, asking him all these questions. He's not answering him, You can hear it's so awkward. And then he says that Jeff all of a sudden is like, fuck, I'm going the wrong way. Turns around and starts going back towards the train station, not answering him. He goes down and disappears. Like, he gets on a train. Fucking
wow.
bones out. And Rob says he never sees Platt again. So, back to the Detective Brown. He says, yeah, it was like 13, 14, 15 murders, right? And so, this is still ongoing. So, what's the real story? What actually happened with the Kieran and Kelly story? So, there will be more on this next time we get together, and I'll do another story too. But
so, is there still possibly a cover-up? Still, maybe?
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
Maybe just Kieran and Kelly's story alone is fucked. I mean, he is a serial killer.
That's a fucked up
He
story
is a
all by
serial killer.
itself.
Right.
I have a theory. I might be way off base here. But what if Platt was trying to peg him for these other murders that he committed?
I was thinking about that too.
Oh, shit. Really?
Well,
That didn't
obviously
even
he
cross
has
my mind.
anger issues if he was in prison
Yeah.
for road rage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. We got
Okay.
some theories
All right.
up in
All
here.
right. Yeah.
But I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. Yay. It was so good.
Yay.
So good. So good.
Get in, Kelly.
Yeah.
You know,
All
you're off a
right.
geezer and you get away with it. So you know what you think? You think you get away with it.
Oh,
So what was the podcast again that you can hear all the
The Nobody
The
Zone.
Nobody Zone.
nobody's
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
You better hear
Yeah,
that.
the recordings of Kelly talking is just
I want to hear those.
I
gets
know,
my
me
bad.
drink
too.
on. Felt
Okay.
good.
Cool.
You know? I'm just gonna be cleaning up my books.
So fun. So
That was
fun.
great.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Excellent.
say Patrick's Day. Woo!
Okay. So is it time?
Badass story of the week.
Woo!
All right, I guess. Quick and sweet. I just want to talk about this beautiful little couple.
You're doing about me and my hubs?
Yeah.
Aw, you shouldn't have.
All right. We've been to planes before, right? How do you guys handle when babies cry? What do you guys do?
I get painfully uncomfortable.
Yeah, you?
On a plane?
On a plane.
Yeah, no.
No, but it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't matter.
What?
No, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think about like when my babies
That's
were
what-
babies.
That's what I feel.
And so I feel so uncomfortable. I just want to, hold, comfort, love.
I feel so bad. I
Yeah,
feel so bad. I'm not irritated in any way, but
It's
I
not
feel so
irritating.
bad for those people who, like the parents, because this is me. If my kid's crying, I'm like, oh, I'm inconveniencing this whole plane. I'm so worried about it. So
Right.
people don't typically like it when there's a baby on the plane, right?
Right.
Well, this couple, Dustin and Karen Moore, they had to take a flight with a newborn.
Mm-mm.
Why? Well, they tried to have a baby for 9 years and they were unsuccessful. So they finally were able to adopt a sweet little baby girl and had to fly her home, right? From Colorado to California. During the flight, the baby needed a diaper change. So it was a full flight. The attendant went ahead and helped clear space for them to get some privacy.
Oh, and newborns don't like that diaper
No,
change.
so you hear this baby screaming.
Yes.
And, the whole plane is like, wow, look at that itty bitty little baby. Like, what is
Aw,
this
so
itty bitty little baby
tiny.
Why are
doing?
you on this plane?
You wonder.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You do. You
Right,
wonder.
uh-huh.
So somebody asked. They said, hey, that's a beautiful little girl you have there. Why is such a little itty bitty baby on this plane? And then she went on to tell them, they had a really hard time conceiving, and so they adopted this baby. They offered congratulations, and then after some time, they heard over the intercom, the attendant Bobby came in and announced that they had a special guest on the flight. She's just been adopted by her parents, Karen and Dustin, and is making her way home.
Mm.
Isn't that sweet? So then everybody in the cabin breaks out in applause, and then something beautiful happens. The flight attendants pass out napkins to all the passengers and ask them to write their words of wisdom
Oh,
for
my
these brand new nervous
goodness.
parents.
Mm.
So she says, I really like the one that says, get sleep when the baby sleeps. Whenever my
Mhm.
daughter goes down for a nap, we try to catch up on any sleep we missed. One of the most special ones they said was a person had written down they were adopted 64 years ago.
Oh my god.
And it says, us adopted kids need extra love.
Oh my
So,
god.
They felt like this was like an impromptu baby shower that they really needed. All the notes that were created by all the passengers are put into a scrapbook.
I
and
love that.
Going to be given to the baby when she's older. So they just wanted to help. They put this on their Twitter and they said, just to let people know that there's still good people out there doing good deeds all the time. Something so small, but it's so beautiful. When I read it for the first time, I was like, oh, having a baby, you get real emotional.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so sweet.
That
is
Just
so
having
sweet.
like all these people give you words of wisdom during like a really hard time.
Very hard time.
Amazing. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Oh, yay!
That's so
I
good.
love that. My sister is a badass through and through, and she's adopted, and she's taken care of and loved thoroughly and gone above and beyond. I always just think she's just so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what she's been through, And to adopt a child is not easy.
Mhm.
It is not easy. And she just goes above and beyond always. And I think to adopt is amazing. I just think it's incredible. And then these people show up at, a very hard time having a newborn. Oh, I love that. Good story, Dre.
Thanks.
So cute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did we do any good deeds ourselves this week?
Yeah, I did the gifting Facebook page.
Okay.
And the chick didn't even realize
Oh, yeah.
that she got it, and she didn't post it or anything, but whatever, I did my good deed.
Oh, and then someone put out a thing today on it saying, if you get a gift, you should say something.
Yeah, I hit her up. I'm like, did you get your package?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But that was a good deed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and then I took you out for your birthday. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yay! I got her a sash, and it says, it's my fucking birthday.
Yeah, I wore a sash
That was
today
so
and a
cute.
tiara for my birthday. Really, really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Very
you.
cute. You're
The
welcome.
girls took me out to lunch, and then after you left, the bartender girl comes up and she's like, do you want a shot?
Yeah, she
It
came over.
looks like you are celebrating something. But I turned her down because I was driving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you, but no, I'm
Wow.
driving. And
Oh.
yeah, so they were going to give me a free shot for my
That's
birthday.
nice.
Yeah.
That is nice.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
I didn't do
So that
any-
was the
I didn't-
elbow room.
Yeah, the elbow room
The elbow
in
room.
Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do a good deed again this week.
What the fuck?
No.
You owe 4 deeds, dude.
I do. I owe so many. But again, it's month's end, and I was just doing a bunch of stuff and dealing with doctor's appointments and all that other stuff. So
Well, you better get with it next week, girl.
mhm.
Giving to the homeless and all sorts of shit.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll follow up with you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
What, Dre?
Well, I bought her lunch.
Yes. Good deed for
Yeah.
the week.
I drove us down there.
Yeah.
Not a good deed.
No, I
Stop.
had a really crazy week at work because of the COVID-19. But at work it's really easy to do good deeds because people are so afraid, in need, and
They're in a vulnerable space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so and they get lost. We're a big medical center, so there was an older couple and they got lost at one
Aw.
end and they were looking for a whole other end, and I was like, well, I'm on lunch and it's cool. I'm just gonna walk you to where you're
Yeah.
going.
Aw.
So I actually walked them clear across campus because I was trying to give them the directions and it wasn't happening.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'll take you over there. Follow me. So
Cool.
I'm a speed walker.
That is nice.
It pained me to walk so slow.
I know.
I was like,
I used to take care of seniors, and I love senior citizens.
Yeah.
They are my jam. And you just have to go slow.
Yep.
Go at their pace.
Yeah.
It's not easy always.
Mhm.
But that is a good deed.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
So share your good deeds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Email us crazy stories.
Mhm.
Email us telling us you love us.
Right.
Because I really get off on it. And the email address is handcuffsandsage@gmail.com.
Right.
Mhm.
Check out our website for the pictures and the little goodie. It's about Hollywood Forever that we went to today.
Mhm.
Give me a couple days so that I can get that online.
Maybe.
And check it out at handcuffsandsagepodcast.com.
Mhm.
And support us because we need all the support we can get.
Right. We have some
Patreon.
guests that want to come on, and we got to get our studio fancy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to be fancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We aren't fancy yet.
No.
So check out our Patreon page. When you guys help support us, you guys do get fun loot and stickers and all sorts
Yes,
of
and-
shout outs and fun
Mhm.
things.
And some access to some cool videos that we've done, and
They're not nude videos. They're regular
videos.
All of a sudden we get all sorts of donations.
and a couple podcast or couple episodes
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
aren't going to air on the podcast. They'll just be for our patrons.
So things that mean a lot to us. Leaving reviews. Sending us emails.
Mhm.
Stay connected. Send us Instagram messages. Hit us up on Twitter and Facebook.
Mhm.
Right? we want to hear from you. We want to do fun listener stories.
Yes.
We're interested. If you have crazy stories, we're setting it up. You can come on and talk with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot going on. Ooh, I'm enjoying March.
Yes.
Yes.
Me too.
Yay!
It's been awesome so far. I can't wait. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Timo.
Thank you. It's Monday, so hit me up.
All right.
All right.
Here we go. Remember, we do what we want all day, every day.
Bye. Happy birthday, Timo.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Handcuffs and Sage is hosted by Red, Timo, and Trey in a shitty guest room in Los Angeles.
Theme music is Leave Now by We Are Wasted. Cover art done by Megan Winchester.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Show us some love on iTunes. Be a badass and do what you want. Until next time.